Okay, hi guys. So I am live trading. I'm a little bit late. So this is my first ever time going live. And I think at the time of recording, I have about 38 subscribers. So I don't know what to expect in terms of who will join me live, but it's likely that if you're watching this, you're watching the replay. So my intention is to make this as valuable and helpful for you as possible. Sorry, I wanted to jump on earlier. The market has already opened. But what I'm going to be doing is I will be sharing my process, sharing exactly how I'm trading, how I manage my emotions, my psychology before, during, and after the trades. So I hope you like this content. If you do, please like the video and make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you can catch me every time I'm live. Ooh, there's a fruit fly. Okay, so where to begin? All right, this is so strange. Oh my goodness. All right, so I trade SPY, S&P 500, and this is all that I trade, and I'm currently on the 5-minute time frame. And I trade support and resistance levels. I like to just make a note of like the range for the day so far. I don't really use it explicitly. It doesn't tell me to do anything, but it's just for context. Like I like to see um, where we are, like how big the range is for the day. Okay. So I make decisions every 5 minutes. So I wait for the candle to close. So these blue lines, these are my support and resistance levels. And I look at reactions at these levels. So the support and resistance levels have been identified on the 4-hour time frame. And then I come down to the 5-minute to execute. And on the 5-minute, what I'm looking for is pin bars. It's as simple as that. I only enter off of a pin bar. So as you can see, it's looking like we have one that could potentially form. So what I'm going to do now is start to prepare myself as if I would be entering, because I always want to enter at the candle close. And I want to kind of get in as close to that as possible. So what I would do is just prepare just in case. But as I'm preparing, I also know that it might not close as a pin bar, but I'm just getting ready so that what I can do is so that I can go over to, I'm using an FTMO challenge that I have, by the way. So what that does is it allows me to prepare the lot size that I would want for that as well. So I've got another screen here. So I'm just working that out now. Okay, so, and I will explain more and more why I do what I do, but for now, I'm just multitasking and getting ready for a potential entry already. Okay, so why I like pin bars is because it shows that it tested the key level and then it's rejected. So as you can see, it tested this support level and then there's been a rejection. So potentially I could get in depending on how it closes. And then my TP is the next level, so resistance above. But as you can see now, it's like a doji. So it's always important to wait for your candle to close if that is in your trading plan, because you don't want to FOMO in on a bad setup. Also for me, it's within the current range of the day so far. I say of the day, it's only been 5 minutes, but as well, it'd be nicer if it had broken this structure here. So it's unlikely that I'm going to enter on this candle. Yeah. So, excuse me, sorry guys. Yeah, so what I was doing there is I was preparing, but at the same time as I was preparing, mentally I knew that it might not close how it was looking. Okay, so it's really important to remember not to like FOMO in on a trade that, for example, looks bullish, looks really strong, but then sort of reverses when it closes. So let's have a look. So I'm just going to remove that. Oh my gosh, because I was rushing to get here. I wanted to come here a bit earlier so that I could introduce myself properly. But it is what it is. So now, okay, I hope it doesn't, I hope the video and everything is still okay, like the connection. I hope it's not buffering. But again, do you see why it's really good not to FOMO in? So this candle was looking quite like it had strength before, and now it's actually potentially breaking this support here. So I also only trade the first hour of market open. I used to do the first 1 to 2 hours, which is okay as well, because during that time there's the most volume, and with my strategy I like momentum, but I just reduced it down to the first hour, just because I don't know why. I think I just didn't want to sit down for so long. So we're currently breaking this support here. We'll see what happens. And again, before I come to the chart, I read my rules each time. So I know what I'm looking for. Whilst maybe before I had rules, I may have wanted to get in when I see this strength here. You might think, oh, let me enter to the downside. But when you know exactly your setup, you're able to wait and you're able to be patient. Now, this might be a setup for someone else, but it's not mine. So, yes. Sorry, there's like fruit flies. Okay, so I think I see some people in here. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you like the stream. I will be live streaming every day. I trade every day. So I thought I might as well stream it as well. Every weekday, I mean. Did I mention that I trade SPY? I did, didn't I? And you can see it. So I only trade this instrument. I don't trade anything else. I can't be bothered to get to know anything else at this point. I've been trading for about 4 years now. And I feel like I've got to a point where I finally know my strategy. I just want to give it a bit more time to see how it plays out over time. Yeah, but it's been a real journey, as I'm sure a lot of you can relate to. Yeah, and it's been self-taught as well, no mentor. I did actually have, how I got into trading was that I wanted to learn about investing. And then so I bought this course, but within the course there was like a whole section at the end on trading, specifically options trading. And when I first saw it, I just kind of skipped it because I was like, this is another language. And I was like, I'm not here for this. I literally just want to know how to invest. But then I came back to it and I haven't been able to let go of it since. I've just been committed to figuring this out. Okay, I hope there's not a lag or anything. Okay, so we've price broke this support level. So now it's potentially resistance. And also what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this light blue line to the low of day, just so I know where it is. It's just for context purposes mostly. I know some people will actually use the high of day and low of day as entry reasons, but I don't do that at the moment. So as you can see, it's coming back, it's testing this zone here. This is also oh no, it's near to pre-market low. That's pre-market low there. Okay, so another thing as well is that when I come to the charts, because I've read my rules beforehand, in my rules, it even says I've made sure I write it down so that I read it every time. Okay, so this is testing this area. Apologies if I like stop and because I am actually trading at the same time. So looking at the chart, price is testing a key area of mine. So it could potentially, this could be the test and then it could reject and form like a pin bar. The only issue with this is that I don't like how it went past the zone because it kind of invalidates it, just that little bit there. So for that reason, I wouldn't enter. So even if this closes as a pin bar, it is going to be difficult for me because I'm going to think, you know what, this is my setup. It's near my key level. It's a pin bar. But because it's just gone over slightly, I'm going to be that disciplined to not enter because I know that there will be other setups that are sort of perfect like that. So I'm happy to skip a seemingly lower probability setup to wait for a better one. But going back to what I was saying about my rules, I read them before each session, and in the rules, it explicitly says that I trade 2 to 3 times a week. So that is even though I come to the desk 5 times. So when I'm at the desk, I do have this understanding and this expectation that that I might sit here for an hour and not take any trade. So I think that's really important to put into perspective as well, because you don't want to kind of come to the trade feeling like, right, I'm going to trade and I'm going to take a trade and I'm going to win a trade, because it doesn't happen like that all the time. There's not always an opportunity. But when you come to the charts with that mindset, that's where the over trading can stem from, because you kind of have that expectation that not only are you going to take a trade, that you're going to actually make money as well. So I remind myself each time that I take 2 to 3 trades a week. So there's a few outcomes that can happen today. I might sit here for the whole hour and not take a setup because I didn't see my setup, despite price could still trend without me and move up and down without me, but I didn't see my setup, so I don't take it. Or I might see my setup and it makes me money, or I see my setup and I lose money. And it's important to like acknowledge that and remember that when you come to the charts. So that when you do take a losing trade, it's not as distressing. Of course, it's still disappointing. We're human, but it doesn't bother you as much. So right now we've got 30 seconds left of this candle. There's some light rejection there, some sellers coming in, and it's even looking like a pin bar. But for me, I'm not going to enter that. So this is a pin bar. If anyone doesn't know what I mean, it looks like this. It's like a hammer where there is a long wick and a smaller body, and that signifies pressure. And in this case, it's to the downside. However, this wick has gone past my zone. I don't really like that. So I'm not entering for that reason. But that's what a pin bar is. Or in this case, this is an inverse hammer. If it was the other way round, if the body was at the top, it's a hammer. Just different names for the same thing. People call it different things. Okay, did you see that price movement there? Very kind of scatty. I don't know what happened, but price does that too. Sometimes it's news, sometimes it's just a large order. Okay, so what I'm just to highlight my point before about the wick and why I didn't enter this. If the wick was like this, like it was within my zone, and then the body was like that, then I would have entered. And as you can see, price is going down in the direction that I would have entered. So previously, maybe when my psychology wasn't as good, I would be having FOMO now, maybe thinking, oh, like, why didn't I get in? But at the end of the day, it's not my setup. And it could go to where my take profit would have been, but it just wasn't for me. That move wasn't mine to take. And I'm okay with that. It's looking like it might go to my next level potentially. And if it does come to this level, then what I'm doing is I'm looking to see how it reacts here. So you might find that I get a pin bar here, for example, and then I can take it to the upside. Or it might just break this and then I'll look again for reactions around here. So I'm always looking for how price reacts at my key levels. So we're already about 25 minutes into market open. So I know that I've got about another 35 minutes left to look for a setup. And what can happen as well is that my setup might happen the hour after I leave or at another time in the day. You might get really significant moves. And that's okay. It's just you can't catch everything. All right. You can't like control the market. Like you just got to take what you can get. So yeah, it's all about managing your expectations when it comes to trading and the whole idea that less is more. You can see the volume bar increasing as well. I don't explicitly, volume is not like one of my entry criteria, but I do look at it out of interest as well. It helps to give context. Okay, 5 seconds left of this candle. Okay, so we've got a huge engulfing, bearish engulfing candle, and yeah, it's probably going to go to this level. So this is a scenario where, again, this is a pin bar, this is my entry candlestick. And it's a scenario where it could trigger FOMO after I chose not to enter. You might think, oh my gosh, like it moved in my direction. But it is what it is. It invalidated my zone for me. Um, so it's fine. I think with trading, you kind of have to have an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset, and understand that there will always be another opportunity, always. So now, because we're near to this level, as I said, I just want to see how we react here. You never know, it could be a pin bar off here, it might reject and give us a wick. So we'll see. Or it might just go straight through. I'm going to move this blue line here as well, just so I know where the low of day is. I think my stream, it might be buffering a bit. When this ends, I am going to watch it back. If it is buffering, I do apologize. I hope it's still sort of watchable, but I will sort of change settings and do all the back end stuff to fix that for next time. Okay, so yeah, this would have been my TP, by the way. So TP would have been hit if this pin bar looked how I wanted it to. And what I would typically do is enter my whole position at the next level. Unless at the time I saw that it just blasted through it, then I would try and hold for as long as possible. But typically I just exit at the next support or resistance level. And I always make sure it's going to be a minimum of a 1-to-1 risk to reward. I will still take a 1-to-1 setup, but if it's more, even better. So now it's tested this area here and it's giving doji at the moment. So I'm going to again get prepared so that I can calculate lot size in case this does turn into a pin bar, because that would be my signal to enter to the upside. So I'm just going to get ready for that. Just in case. So right now this is looking like a pin bar again, but to the downside. And I never enter in the zones. I don't trade if price is within a zone because there could be like a lot of liquidity here. And also I need the wick to be off of the zone. It needs to be wick off the zone. So it's coming down quite strongly. A lot of selling pressure today. So sometimes there are days where price will trend I'm a trend trader. I like momentum like this, but there will be days where this happens and it happens without me. So there's no way sometimes for me to get in. As I said, if this pin bar here was like just a bit shorter, if this wick was shorter, I would have been in, and then I would have been out in just over 5 minutes. But that didn't happen today. But again, because I have in my mind that I only trade half of the time that I come to the chart, it's okay. I only trade 2 or 3 times a week, and I take one trade a day as well. So I really just try to limit how much I trade. Mm-hmm. Also, every like Sunday or Saturday, typically a Sunday, I write down the news announcements for the week as well. Because that's really important. Because if there's like a day where it's like Fed interest rate, then I'm price can be choppy beforehand because institutions are not going to make big moves until that news announcement comes out. So, because I know my strategy needs volume, it needs momentum, I might not even come to the desk that day. So today there are no notable news announcements that I identified. I don't make a note of earnings. I know some people do, but I don't. Maybe because I'm trading S&P 500. I'm not sure. But I just make a note of like Fed interest rate. That's the main one, actually. I think sometimes, even if it's just an FOMC conference, press conference or whatever, sometimes that's still okay to trade. If I do come to the desk, I'm really just being extra cautious, and not trying to jump in or jump in on anything or force anything. There's always another day, always another day. So now we're getting close to the next level. So again, I'm really just wanting to see how it reacts here. We've got 2 minutes left of this candle. You never know, like after all of this selling pressure, price could eventually bounce back up. But we'll see. We just don't know. And I think as a trader, you need to be as neutral as possible so that you can respond appropriately, respond to what you're seeing and not just like react. It also helps to manage your trading psychology as well. Okay, so you can see more the volume bars are increasing, so the sellers are really in control at the moment. Sorry if it keeps like if the chart keeps coming off and you see my background. It's just I've got two monitors here that I'm trying to use. Okay, 40 seconds left here. Do you know what I'm going to do? Again, it's just always preparing because you never know how price moves. As much as it's only 30 seconds left, this could potentially quickly close as a wick, and you always just want to be prepared. Ten seconds left here. Okay. Oops. Okay, so again, I'm just moving this low of day. So far, the range of the day has been about $5 on SPY. So now seeing it push up a little bit. If you are watching this on replay, let me know in the comments what you trade, how long you've been trading, how your journey's been so far. Let me know so I can get an idea of where you guys are at. I know it can be a lonely journey as well, so it's nice to build community. So again, patience is required before you enter a trade, and when you're in the trade, you need to be patient again. And then also when you exit the trades, you have to be patient again because we're still thinking about when we'll get there type thing, like when we'll get to where we want, when it comes to trading. So patience is just the running theme throughout trading, and patience pays. So just wait for your setup. Don't chase anything, just wait. There's always an opportunity. Let's even check. Yep, my mic is on. Trading is really boring, isn't it? You guys make sure when you watch this that you subscribe and click the notification bell so that you can join me and we can have a conversation. We can talk whilst we're trading and I can answer any questions you might have. My focus has been on trading psychology because I'm a therapist by background, a cognitive behavioural therapist. So it's all about how you think and what you do. So I do try to focus on that. And some of you may have seen that I've already created some content around that. And I also have a trading psychology course. If you're interested in that, that is linked below. But yeah, I thought it'd be nice because it's nice to show as well, right? Like actually do the thing. So yeah, subscribe and make sure you join me next time. Okay. So what's the time? I've got 20 minutes left now of my trading session. So I don't know what's going to happen in the next 20 minutes. So again, it's having that open mind always when you're trading. But this could be a day where it's like a no trade day for me. It would be a day where, you know what, it just trended without me. My setup didn't appear and I'll come back tomorrow. Yeah. So it is what it is. Okay, so whilst I'm here and whilst not much is happening, I'm going to try to explain how I chart on the 4-hour levels. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I literally trade support and resistance levels, and I identify those on the 4-hour time frame. And then I come down to the 5-minute time frame and I execute on that time frame by looking at reactions at those levels. And I have a very specific entry criteria. It is a PIN bar, which is a wick rejection. And that wick rejection signifies a test of that level and a rejection, which shows strength. Okay. And then that's when I enter. And then my take profit level is the next level. If it seems to be blasting through that level, then I'll hold. But how I chart on the 4-hour, I like to, not that I like to see it, but I tend to see it as more of an art. Like charting support and resistance levels, I feel like is an art, whilst how I execute on the 5-minute is more of a science. It's very clear. I've just explained, like, it's so precise, so simple. So on the 4-hour time frame, I'm literally looking at where price might stop. So I'm looking at areas that have been respected. So I'm looking at where prices maybe paused or where there was a huge impulse in the past. And I'm really looking at really like current 4-hour candles as well, like the most recent 1 to 3 candles, because I'm literally trying to trade that price because I'm dropping down to the 5-minute. And as you can see, like, it's kind of scalping, because if this pin bar was off the zone, I would have been out in 7 minutes. Do you know what I mean? So I don't need to look at a wide, a wide amount of 4-hour charts. That's not the right word. But do you know what I mean? I don't have to go back so far because I'm actually executing on the 5-minute. So if I go really far back, I don't know. Okay, so this is a pin bar looking like. I almost missed that because I'm chatting. So again, I'm going to get prepared so I can calculate the lot size based on the distance of the TP, in case this would be an entry point. So let's say it's about here. So my stop loss always goes, not always, but most of the times it would go beyond the zone. And do you see how this is wicking and almost looking like it wants to go to my next level without me? Again, this could be another trigger for FOMO. But you really have to just, I know, like, I've been there with the whole FOMO thing, but you really have to get to a point where you don't care about setups that are not yours. You only trade what's yours. There's always another opportunity. Now, say for example, it closed like this. I wouldn't get in because the risk to reward is 0.59. It's less than 1. So again, do you see how you don't get everything you want all the time? In this case, the wick is perfect. It's in the zone now, as opposed to being past the zone like this one. However, the risk to reward isn't there. So again, I'm not going to take it. Now, that's not to say you can't take it, but it's not my strategy. It's not my setup. And it's not to say that this isn't going to work out and that it's not going to go past this support level. So it just is what it is. But yeah, this is how I like my pin bar to look. But the next level is just too close for me. So I wouldn't enter here. If it came up, so 1 to 1, we've got 40 seconds left. 1 to 1 is about here. That would be a pin bar still. If it came back up to about here, I'm just going to mark that with a black line. No, I don't think that would be a pin bar anymore. Yeah, so this is a pin bar, guys, but the risk to reward isn't there because it could potentially just stop here like it did before. This is a potential obstacle, this level, and then it wouldn't be worth the risk. So as you can see, it closed here, so I can't get in there. But nice wick. This is exactly what I want to see. You see it's broken, retested, rejected, looking like it wants to come down. But as I said, the next obstacle is too close. So I've got 15 minutes left. Let's see if we get something today, guys. It might be a no trade day, which is fine. Price trended without me. It's okay. It's okay. No hard feelings. Okay, so can you see how it's good that I didn't get in here? Not to say that this isn't going to come back down, but if I'd have entered here, knowing that I don't like the risk to reward and knowing that I'd broken a rule, when I see it retracing like that, I'm going to start panicking. I'm going to start sweating because I'm already not confident in the position because I know I've broken a rule. And that's where you start getting into that pattern of inconsistency. There's this sense of urgency, there's this sense of lack, which leads to you taking anything and you just lose more and more money and make more and more mistakes to try and get it back. And it just becomes like a horrible, horrible, vicious cycle. So have your rules, guys. Your rules are there to protect you when you're live in the market. And I know you can have your rules and then when you're live in the market, it's still hard to follow. But you need to ask yourself, like, why is it hard to follow your rules? And I think a lot of the time it just comes down to the fact that we're trading in a way where we want to make money. And I know I'm stating the obvious here, but when you're just starting out, you shouldn't be trading to make money. And I'm saying this from experience. I've been there, trust me. In the beginning, make sure you have another source of income coming in so that you can focus on learning how to trade. Because I think sometimes when you just remove that stressor of not having money or not having a source of income, it like changes everything. I've been there, I've done both. I've traded when I haven't had a source of income coming in. I've traded through living off savings. I've traded when I have had income. And it's easiest when you have income and you don't need trading money to pay your bills. And then you find it's way easier to let setups like this go because you're not in survival mode. And it's way easier to come to the desk, sit down for an hour and not take a trade because you don't need the money, that everything is taken care of. So yeah, if you do find that you have your trading rules and when you're live in the market, you're struggling, just check if that could be a reason, why. Because I know for me, trading was definitely sold as like this thing it was sold to me as a get rich quick thing. And you think it's like really easy. And as much as what we're doing is easy, like it's simple, it's not easy when our mindset isn't in the right place. It makes this just way harder. So yeah, definitely be aware of that. So we've got 10 seconds left of this candle and 10 minutes until my session ends. So what it looks like has happened so far is it's come down nicely, trended without me. a little bit of like range in here. It might be trying to come back up. If I see like a pin bar here, then I would enter. I would put my stop loss just behind the zone, and the take profit is the next level. Okay, so it's pushing up. Also, no, because I was going to say this could end up being a pin bar, but I wouldn't enter again because it's gone past my level. I was going to say it could be a pin bar to the downside. Pushing up. Okay, so again, if I had of entered to the downside based on this pin bar, the one where I said the risk to reward wasn't there, if I'd have just said to myself, oh, let me just take it, like it's really likely it's going to come to the next level, you know, look how long the wick is, look at all that strength, I would have been stopped out. So this is why it's so important to just stay in your lane. Just stay in your lane, your trading plan, your trading strategy. There will always be, your setup will come again. Like it will always come again. So just be patient. Less is definitely more in trading. So looks like we've got a nice potential V-shaped recovery. All happening without me, as it does on Sundays. So it came down, up. The one that would have been really nice is this one. You see how quickly it went to the next level, in and out, 5 to 7 minutes. And yeah, from there to there, that would have been nice. Okay, 1.5 minutes left of this candle. Shout out to any of you if you're watching this. It's Thursday, so if you're watching the replay, shout out to you if you caught any of this move. Amazing. And what I like as well, and what I think is helpful for you guys to do as well, is even though I haven't entered a trade and like I've not been able to get in on this nice move, I'm actually internally, I'm celebrating the fact that I've been following all of my rules so far. All of my rules have been followed. So even though I haven't taken a trade, that's not how I measure my success. I'm measuring my success based on my ability to follow my rules. So I'm winning today. I'm winning. Because you know, it's always way more painful when you take a loss because of a broken rule. Like you knew you should not have entered that trade anyway. Those ones are the most painful. Like if you take a loss after following your rules, that causes a bit of discomfort. But to take a loss after breaking your rules, that's the worst, because you're like, I knew I wasn't supposed to do this, but your emotion was just running the game. All right, so this is the last candle for me, and then I will be off. So the only thing that could happen here for me to get in is if it's a pin bar. So if it comes down, tests this support level, and then comes up a bit, rejects it, gives me a pin bar, then I would enter, hoping that it would reach this level here. So let me just get prepared for that as well, because again, I want to calculate the lot size. So the orange line is my stop loss. I like to color code my lines as well, so I know what is what easily just by looking at it. And then if this is a pin bar, my take profit level would be there. Stop loss is there. And then it has to be a minimum 1-to-1 risk to reward. Okay. And it has to, of course, be a pin bar, so the wick is bigger than the body. So it's testing now. It's doing the testing bit. Let's see if it turns into a pin bar. Pin bar, pin bar. Let's see. So essentially what's happened here is it's come down, come up, and then this candle here, the previous candle, broke my level. Now it's coming back to test it, and let's see if it holds and rejects it. To show the rejection shows momentum, it shows strength. Okay, coming down a bit more. If it goes past my zone, then it's invalidated. It's not sort of, it's done more than test it, if that makes sense. The test failed, the test bit. The test bit of the test and rejection failed. So it's giving wick. Let's see if it will give me a small body. Yeah, and I need it to close outside of the zone as well. Like that. Like I'd enter here. But again, I have to wait for it to close. So let me get ready in case this is an entry. So we've got 1 minute left, but like this, I would enter, but it hasn't closed yet. So I have to wait 1 minute. Again, this is another point where you might think, let me jump in. I'm just going based off what I know my triggers have been. I might be thinking, oh, this is exactly my setup. Let me get in. But it hasn't closed yet. And my back test was based on fully formed candles. So you just have to wait. 38 seconds. And again, you can almost see why it's good to wait, right? What looked like a good potential is that pin bar is turning into a potential engulfing now. So it's really important to follow your rules. Some people do enter before candle closes, but that's not my strategy. It looks like I'm not going to be entering here. Okay, so that's it, guys. That is my trading session done. So today was a no trade day, and it was one of those days where it trended without me. Like, I am a trend trader, I love momentum, but I wasn't able to get in today. So I hope you found this video helpful. Let me see if there's anyone here. I don't think there is. I have been looking. I think there have been people coming in and out. I don't know if I'm even looking at this correctly. I'm new to this, it's my first live. But if you enjoyed this, make sure you like the video, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you click the notification bell so that you know, and you can catch me every time I'm live and we can trade. This is not financial advice, by the way. And also, what could happen as well, as I say, when I leave, I might see my setup that would work out later on in the session, but it's just one of those things. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back tomorrow, and I hope to see you then. Okay, bye.